Welcome to Lesson 9, B for loops. Today you will break one long sequence of steps into shorter looped sequences and use the for loop structure to repeat an action a variable number of times with each iteration. For loops are loops that have a predetermined beginning, ending, and an increment or a step interval. So let's hop over now to Lesson 9, Puzzle 1. Make sure that you are logged in to your account. It should show your username in the upper right. Go ahead and pause now and try this on your own. Come back if you need help. Okay, so for Puzzle 1, it says use a loop to collect the nectar from each flower. So we're going to move forward. When we're there, we're going to get nectar. And we move forward again and get nectar. And keep going for a third one, a fourth one, and a fifth one. So if I run this, it should show that it works, but it's going to tell us that we used too many blocks. Yep, so we're going to click try again. It looks like they also have a hint for us if you need a hint. Okay, and the hint is to use a repeat loop, okay, and do it 5 times. So we can use pattern recognition, which is one of our computational thinking skills for this. Sometimes I like to take stacks and kind of put them against each other like this so that I really see that pattern. Okay, and then we're going to put in repeat, and we can move our number in here for 5. Okay, we can get rid of these two while we're at it. All right, congratulations. So you can pause this video now and continue on to Puzzle 2. Try to solve Puzzle 2 on your own, but come back here if you need help. All right, Puzzle 2. Add the code necessary to make sure the bee collects all the nectar. Look at how much code you need for this puzzle. We'll learn a simpler way in the next puzzle. Okay, so we're already using 12 of 19 blocks, and it looks like we're moving forward, getting nectar, moving forward, getting nectar twice, moving forward, getting nectar 3 times, moving forward, and now we need to get nectar 4 times, right? And then what do you think would be next? Yep, another move forward, and then what? Good. A repeat 5 times for a get nectar. So let's press run to test it and make sure it works. Nicely done. All right, go ahead and pause the video and continue on to Puzzle 3 on your own. If you need help, come on back. All right, I want you to pause this video that you're watching of mine and make sure that you watch this video in code.org. It's going to be about for loops and repeat blocks. So pause me now and go watch the video. Okay, welcome back. So it looks like for Puzzle 3, we're going to use a for loop to make things much easier. So all the code you need is here. Take a look at how it is put together and then click run to see how it works. So this says for counter going from 1 to 5 and counting up by 1, we're going to move forward and repeat some variable amount of times, get nectar. So this counter, every time this repeats back up here, it's going to change. So it's going to start with 1. The next time it runs counter will be 2. The next time it runs the counter will be 3. Next time it runs counter will be 4, and then last time it'll be 5. Let's click run. And that's all you really need to do for this one. All right, so why don't you go ahead and click pause and continue on to Puzzle 4. If you need help for puzzle 4, let's read the directions. Replace the question marks in the for loop with the largest amount of nectar the bee has to collect. Okay, let's go over here. What's the largest amount the bee has to collect? Right, 7. Okay, so we're gonna go, our variable counter is gonna go from 1 to 7, and it's going up by 1 each time. So the first time it'll be 1, then it will be 2 times, then it will be 3 times, then it will be 4 times, etc. All right, nice job with puzzle 4. You can go ahead and pause now and continue on to puzzle 5. All right, if you're here, you need help on puzzle 5. Let's make sure we read the instructions. Now we need to move forward counter times, then get nectar counter times. Can you use 2 repeat loops to solve this challenge? Okay, so we're going to start with 1, and what's our biggest amount for counter? It looks like for getting nectar, it's 3. So let's set this to 3. And are we going up by 1 each time? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yes, we're going up 1 each time. So our moving forward is also going to change that same amount of time. So the first time we're moving forward once, then we're moving forward twice, then we're moving forward 3 times. And when we're done moving forward, we need to get nectar. But we're not just going to get nectar once, we're going to get nectar counter amount of times. Because the first time we're going to get 1, the second time we're going to get 2, and then the third time we'll get 3. Let's go ahead and run this and see if it works. Nicely done with puzzle 5. You can go ahead and click pause and then continue on to puzzle 6. Okay, if you're here, you need help for 6. You can also use a for loop to count down. Try gathering this nectar by counting down from 5 to 1 by ones. Okay, so we're going to start off with 5. That's going to be our first one. And our last one is going to be 1. And each time we're going to go down 1. So I'm going to make this -1. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is move forward, right? The amount of moving forward isn't going to change each time because we're always going to just move forward once before getting a variable amount of nectar. So let's use our variable here and then put get nectar here. So the first time it runs, it will be 5, and it's going to subtract 1 and be 4, and then subtract 1 and be 3, etc. All right, great job with puzzle 6. Go ahead and click pause and try puzzle 7 on your own. All right, on to puzzle 7. The last number in your for loop is called an increment. Each time the loop is run, the counter variable changes by the value of the increment. Try collecting these flowers using an increment of 2, because we're going 1, 3, 5, 7. So what number are we starting with? Good, should be a 1. And then what's our biggest number? Yep, it's 7. And we're going up by what increment? Yep, 2. Okay, so remember this is a repeat, so we're going to be repeating this that many times. How many move forwards are we going to do before we get nectar the first time? Yep, just once. So it looks like all of our move forwards are just 1. So the move forwards are not a variable amount, but the amount of nectar that we're getting is going to be variable. So we're going to repeat this variable times and get nectar. So the first time this runs, we should get nectar once. The next time it's going to be 2 more than that. So it'll be 3 times, and then the next time it will be 5 times, and then the next time it'll be 7 times. Nice job. You can go ahead and click pause and work on puzzle 8 on your own. All right, we're on to puzzle 8. It looks like it does offer us a hint this time if we end up needing it. What should your increment be to collect 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15? How much are we going up each time? Yep, going up 3. So our increment is counting by positive 3. And it looks like they already have this filled in for us, where we're starting with 3 and ending with 15. Our move forwards are not variable because we're only moving up 1 each time. So we're going to need a repeat around the get nectar and use our variable here. Great job. All right, go ahead and pause now and go work on puzzle 9 on your own, but come back here if you get stuck. Ooh, it looks like we're gonna get tricky here. All right, so now let's combine the counter variable with a math block. How can you use the counter variable to navigate this garden with the fewest number of blocks possible? What do you need to do to collect 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15 nectar this time? The secret is in the counter variable. Remember, if your loop is counting up, the increment is added to your counter variable each time. All right, so if we're looking at this, what should we start with, what should we end with, and what is our increment? Take a minute and think about it. Okay, so did you have that it starts with 3, it ends with 15, and that we're going up by 3? Okay, good. So if we're looking at this, you know, you could try to simulate which way to turn either by using your finger on the screen and pointing it down and kind of seeing what direction that feels like, or you could stand up facing the left and then figure out which way you would turn to face behind you, I guess. And it would be a left turn. So we're going to start off with a left. And then now we're facing down. How much are we going to move forward? We're just going to move forward 1 time. Okay. And then we're going to get nectar, and that's what's a variable, right? Our move forwards also look like they're going to be variable. So we're probably going to need a repeat with the move forward in it and a repeat with the get nectar in it. We know the get nectar correlates with our variable up here with the counter, right? So the first time our nectar will be 3, then our nectar will be 6, then 9, then 12, then 15. But our move forwards don't work that way. Now, up here, it suggested that we use a math block. So let's go ahead and put one of these math blocks in here and see if we can figure out what goes in here. You could, on a piece of paper, write down how our get nectars connect to our move forward. So I might write a list on a piece of paper right now that says 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Next to each of those, because that represents our counter. So to the right of that, I'm going to make a list of what our move forwards are each time. So the first time I move forward just once, it looks like our second time it's going to be forward, forward. So that's 2. Then we're going to go forward, forward, forward. That's 3. Then forward, 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 forward. That's 4. And forward, 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 which is 5. Okay, so we need to figure out the math that we would take the counter, do something to the counter in order to get that list of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So how can we go from 3 to 1, 6 to 2, 9 down to 3, 12 down to 4, and 15 down to 5? So we know we're not multiplying something. We know we're not adding something. If we're talking about subtraction, well, the first time would be -2, but that doesn't work. If our nectar is 6, -2 would give us 4, and we need to move forward of 2. Okay, so that leaves us with division. So if we take whatever the counter is and divide by something, it should give us how far we should move forward. Can you guys see the connection between 3 to 1? 3 divided by what is 1? Yeah, divided by 3. Does that work for 6 divided by 3 is 2? Yep. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. Okay, so if we take whatever the counter is and divide by 3, that should work for our move forwards. And then the left turn is up here already, so we don't need another left here. Otherwise, it'll turn left too many times. Our workspace does appear to be using the right number of blocks, so let's run this and see if it works. All right, that was a tricky one, but we did it. So go ahead and continue on to the 10th puzzle and pause here. Ooh, I see a zigzag pattern. And I also think I need to simulate which way to turn, because for some people it's hard to visualize this. So if I stood up right now and kind of faced the back of the room, which way would I turn to face this side of the room? Okay, a left. Okay, then we know there's going to be a move forward. And with a zigzag pattern, you always have a left and a right. And then move forward again. This is kind of like the basic algorithm of the zigzag pattern. Okay? So the move forwards don't seem to change this time, so that's nice. The move forwards are always going to be single, but we do get, we're going to need to get a nectar either here or here. And that amount of nectar seems to be variable because we're going from 15 down to 3. So let's put nectar inside of a repeat. And since it's a variable amount of repeating, let's put our variable here. And stick this here, I think. Let's see. Left, forward, right, forward. Yeah, that sounds like a good place to put it. Okay, what are we starting with? Yep, 15. And then what's our smallest number? Good, 3. And what is our increment? How is the number changing each time? Right, it's going down by 3, so I'm going to put a -3 here. Okay, and it says 12 out of 12 blocks, so let's try it and see if it works. Nicely done. All right, you can pause now and go on to, yeah, there is a puzzle 11. So you got one more puzzle to go, but pause now. Okay, welcome to puzzle 11. This one looks like it could be tricky for some people. I'm going to go ahead and expand these instructions here so that we can see all of them. It also looks like they're willing to give us 2 hints. All right, so this is going to be a challenge. We're essentially trying to get the bee to collect all of these nectars. And it appears that our move forward is going to be variable, and the amount of getting nectar is also going to be variable. Okay, so I might start off by trying to figure out which way I need to turn myself. So you could use a simulation for that, either stand up facing the right and then try to face behind us, or use your finger to try to visualize it. So do that right now. Which way are we turning, right or left? I agree. I also think it's going to be a turn right. So we're going to be turning right every time, essentially. I'm going to take a piece of paper again and write down how the get nectars connect to the move forwards. So if our counter is for the get nectar, we're starting with 14, then 10, then 6, then 2. Okay. So let's go ahead and fill this in for nectar right now. So what is our biggest number? What are we starting with actually? Okay, 14. And what are we ending with? Good, 2. And how much are we, in this case, going down by each time? All right, so 4. So I'm going to put -4 here. So counter in this case represents our nectars, but our move forwards are probably different because this does not look like we're moving forward 14 times. So next to my list of 14, 10, 6, and 2, I'm going to write what the move forwards are. So first we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to write a 7 next to 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to write a 5 next to 10. Maybe you're already catching on the pattern. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to write 3 next to 6. 1 is what I'm going to write next to 2. So, like I said, the move forwards are going to be variable, and the amount of getting nectar is going to be variable. We set up the counter to represent our nectar, but we probably need one of these math blocks for the moving forward. So we're going to do something to the variable counter in order to figure out the move forward. So have you noticed the relationship yet? It's either going to be dividing or minus to go from 14 to 7, from 10 to 5, from 6 to 3, or from 2 to 1. All right, I'm going to go with dividing 2 because it looks like the move forwards are always half of what we're getting nectar. So let's run this and see if it works. Actually, out of curiosity, let's see what these hints were. Can you find the pattern between the number of steps to take and the number of nectars together? Yeah, that's kind of what we did here. And you'll need to have 2 repeats. 1 will use a math block. Okay, so we did that. Let's try running it. Looking good so far. Do. All right, nicely done. Wait. It says I could have used a different block for a stronger code. What do they mean? Did I use too many? I don't know. Okay, I figured out what they wanted me to fix. If I go back here. They wanted this to be +4 instead of -4, and now it gave me credit. Anyway, congratulations on finishing lesson 9. You can go ahead and log out of this now, but double check that all of your circles are solid green, and you can always go back to any that you need help with. Have a great day.